Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the kind introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, dan salam sejahtera. I would like to thank the NDIS committee, especially Madam Fuzia and Dato' Abdul Kadir, in trusting me to speak on this challenging area. I hope this will not be my last, and I hope to be able to present more ideas on this matter. Okay, the research group, begin this topic with a hypothesis. That is, the present unclear policy tends to impede the development process at all levels in Malaysia, whereby the access and dissemination of geospatial data and other data and documents are subject to various red tapes. Perhaps this inconvenience caused the existence of the fear factor. We have heard about a few fear factors in the morning just now among the public sector and the public at large in sharing geospatial data. Therefore, this inconvenience should be uplifted through clear geospatial legislation to enable the creation of a dynamic, innovative, and creative society as envisioned by the country's transformation program. So we look into our vision. I lifted up this from Dato' Kadir's presentation in Cambridge. So the national vision is Malaysia has set a vision to move towards a knowledge-based society and economy where ICT is the driver for restructuring of economy and employment. Prerequisites include access to infrastructure and development of information, knowledge, and applications. So our Vision 2020 is to have a knowledge-based society where the two important things is to access to infrastructure and enrichment of information, knowledge, and application. So the content of the presentation will look into why Malaysia need to legislate geospatial information. So before we go on why, we look into, do we have an information policy? The big picture, geospatial information. The bigger picture is the information policy. Do we have access to information data? Do we have legislation on access to information data? And do we have any legislation in regards to sharing of this information? So still at the content, I hope I won't bore you. The group will also be looking at the establishing of the legal framework for geospatial information. So what is the legislation on information here? So the most important, before we look at any legal framework, is by looking at the Federal Constitution, the supreme law of the land. What say the Federation on information? The disputed question, next question, we'll be looking is, in light of the current framework, so we'll be looking also at the current framework, is geospatial law really needed? So legislation supporting ICT development, as have been thoroughly discussed this morning by the keynote address, is here. You can have a look at this. I won't go further on this matter. So what is or why legislation, law or policy? So the question is, are the present circulars, the standards, legislation adequate? Why the need to legislate when we have circulars, we have standards and also legislation that we have looked just now, a long list of ICT legislation to regulate geospatial activities. What is so unique about geospatial information? It needs specific legislation to manage it. So we look at the legal framework on access to information. This is the legal framework for every legal matters in Malaysia. The hierarchy. We have the supreme law at the top, the Federal Constitution. So we'll look at what say the Federal Constitution in regard to information or anything to do with information. So we have Article 10, which says that every citizen has the right to freedom of speech and expression, but nothing on provision of access to information. So the legislation on information, there is no enabling legislation conferring right to information. So according to this hierarchy, once the federal constitution, the supreme law, establish or state the fundamental rights, we have under that legislation. Legislated either by the parliament, depending on the matter that is to be legislated, because we have division of powers between the federal and state government. So no enabling legislation, whether it be at federal or state level in regards to this. There is no legislation in regards to right to information, right to know, or obligation to share. But there is legislation, mind you, restricting these rights. So of course, when we don't have the Parent Act, what we call legislation enacted at Parliament, the anak-anak, the bylaws, we don't have all that regulation too. So this is the present situation in our country in regard to the major framework. Okay, so look about rights. What is actually rights? Article 19 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, states that everyone has the right of freedom of opinion, which is similar to ours, Article 10. These rights, they went further, includes freedom to hold opinions without interference, and to seek, receive, impart information, ideas through any media, regardless of frontiers. We don't have this. The second limb of this, human rights, 1948. But, as I said, the right to freedom of speech and expression, we acknowledge that. But we are silent on the second limb, or the second part of the Article 19. Moreover, the right to freedom of speech is subject to restrictions. Under Article 10.2, it provides restrictions in the sense that if it is a threat to our security and public order. Okay, so we proceed with the liabilities and restrictions. So, the evil twin, brother or sister of the legislation on freedom of information is our Official Secrets Act, 1972. So, according to the Official Secrets Act, Cabinet's documents, records of decisions, and deliberations, including those of Cabinet committees, State Executive Council documents concerning national security, are official secrets. So they have classified the official secret into two: top secret, secret, confidential, and restricted. So on, more again on liabilities, we have more restrictions and liabilities. So it is a criminal offense to divulge official secrets. So they have a mandatory jail time. Under mandatory jail time, no choice. If you reveal these so-called official secrets, the jail time, minimum time is 1 year. The maximum is 7 years. And too bad if they go under the penalty for spying, under the OSA, life imprisonment. Okay, this OSA applies to all citizens, PR, and to persons who hold or have held at any time held office in public service in Malaysia and have effect outside Malaysia. To top up this, the civil servants also are bound by the general orders and administrative guidelines, Clause 17.1, which prevents officers from revealing information to the public or media without written approval. So, by looking at this, there is a reason for the fear factor, justifying the fear factor, because they have put into writing the penalty. So, on this liabilities and restriction. So, even our draft legislation, for example, the National Geospatial Data Act, classified as an official secret until it is tabled in Parliament. Even MPs do not have access to the draft or have access only under very limited and restricted circumstances. Okay, So we'll look into what is the position now. So actually law is actually about maintaining these three attributes, the rights and liabilities, balancing it. So in regards to information, we don't have any law in regards to the right to access, the right to information, but we have long list of the restriction. There is one of them is the Official Secrets Act, which limits access to information. And then we have another one, the Printing, Presses and Publication Act 1984, the Sedition Act, those who release classified information, there is criminal penalties for this. The comparison. We look between the rights and liabilities under a matured legal framework that is on the land ownership. The land ownership and on the law on access to information. We look at land ownership. They have these rights to property guaranteed under the Federal Constitution. That is under Article 13. No person shall be deprived of property save in accordance with law. So the Supreme Law have this put into black and white. This right guaranteed. But as compared to the second part, access to information, nothing. As regards to liabilities, so as I've said, when you talk about rights, you always talk about the other antonym, that is the liabilities. So the liabilities, when you own land, so you think nothing in this world is free. So you need to pay quit rents, the yearly quit rents, to pay rates, to pay the real property gains tax if you do deal in property, premium if you want to develop land. And also in regards to these rights, there's always a restriction to maintain the balance. Can you do anything on your land when you're the owner? Can you mine, you find there's gold on top of it? No, there is a restriction on mining rights. So, but in regards to access to information, we have liabilities only. We have all this restriction, criminal prosecution, and the restriction in the form of official secret, the classification of all the top secret, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so I'm just giving this more illustration on the balance of this matured legal framework under the land tenure system. So we see it, all the column has been filled in. There's rights, and under the Supreme Law, and also there's liability, and of course there's restriction. Okay, I will go deal further on that. Okay, despite this legal discrepancy, MACD has done a fantastic job, okay, in managing and promoting development, implementation of a GDI, as to put Malaysia among the few Asian countries that forefront development of SDR. So we have this policy and guidelines accessible through the website and easily download. So they have this Development Administration Circular beginning 1997. During this 15-year span, beginning from 1997, this policy and guidelines in the form of circulars was formulated in accordance to MACD needs and growth. It began with the 1997 circular, informing chief secretaries of ministries, heads of federal government, states and local authorities of the establishment of the National Infrastructure of Land Information System, or NALIS, later changed to MACD. The latest circular is the number 8, that is on, which contain guidelines for the sharing and dissemination of geospatial data via MyGDI to government agencies, which in order to avoid duplication in data and optimize issues. So, what's wrong with the circulars then? So we are looking about the circulars. Look at the circulars. There's nothing wrong with the circulars. Circulars is applicable to public bodies only. Public bodies, meaning that between the federal agencies, the state agencies, the local agencies, the statutory body, and has no legal sanction, unless it is backed by a legislation. Okay, in fact, when you read the circulars, from the 1997 to the 2012, they have this provision. Pemakaiannya adalah tertakluk kepada penerimaan oleh pihak berkuasa masing-masing. So it doesn't have any form of wajib, kena ikut, dan optional. It gives them. So no penalty. Moreover, there's no penalty, no liability arise for non-compliance to obey these guidelines or the circulars. Okay, we are still on circulars. It is aimed to protect, in fact, when you read the circulars, to protect the interests, the confidentiality and private information of the government. It is administrative in nature and not mandatory. And of course, definitely does not have authority to confer right to access and impose obligation to disclose data and data sharing. Okay, so we look into the security instruction circular of classified geospatial document. This is in regards to what is restricted data, what is secret data. So this is in line with the Official Secrets Act 1972. In fact, it is more exhaustive. Mana lagi lebih jelas lagi, because as compared to OSA, it goes very general. It defines the 4 categories of classified documents. What is top secret document, what is secret, what is clear, what is restricted. And identify and ascertain the types of classified just under Appendix 2. Okay. Actually, the circular is supplement to the security directive books issued by our cabinet. And the difference between the 8 circulars, establishment of MACD, and also the 8 circulars, is that it has this power, enforcement powers. It can, the police under that circular may confiscate classified geospatial documents. So they have these issues now. Now, with all that I've given you, the current condition, whether our existing legal framework is adequate in supporting our vision of moving towards a knowledge-based society and economy, whether the prerequisite access to information, infrastructure, and information fulfilled. So we'll assess this by looking at the GSDI, Geospatial Data Information Guidelines, legal framework established by them. They say that whether they achieve the enabling data sharing. First, we divide into rights and obligation. So the first, if it is aimed at data sharing between public bodies for public service, the answer is yes. Yes, it has fulfilled the enabling data sharing aimed at between the public bodies and public service. Second, this is in regards to rights. Access by citizen. Is it really accessible? Okay, there is a question mark. And then can we access, or we have a lot more restriction rather than the open data? Or is that what we call red tapes? It took a long time to get the information. So, and then the question on reusing by private sector. So we put a question mark there too. So, and when we talk about rights, the liabilities, obligation, do we have a provision which impose the obligation to share? Or a sharing as a default? No, we don't have that. Secondly, obligation not just to share, but to show to the people, the user. No, we don't have that. And finally, obligation to use authentic source. So we have that policy. But as I've explained just now, circulars is not meant to have a sanction to paksa, to impose penalty for non-compliance. Okay, conclusion. Because there's a need to further define and enhance the right of expression under Article 10 of the Federal Constitution. We have this right. So as to include the right to freedom of information and also obligation to disclose information. So meaning that the supreme law of the land, we need to have this provision on freedom of legislation. But mind you, balance of course needed. There is protection of privacy, protection of intellectual property rights, national security against these freedom of information laws. So exception, of course, to the freedom of information should be interpreted restrictively. And finally, the need for a knowledge-based society for the development of our beloved country is surely a must, because we believe that perfection comes with freedom of expression and surely freedom of information. The imbalances between the rights and liabilities in our information law need to be tackled. The drafting of the National Geospatial Data Act will hopefully address issues on the right of information and obligation to disclose information. Mr. Chairman, I hereby rest my case.
Thank you very much.